But you know we will. Of course. We got to keep our brother safe. Which side? No, I got the right one.
Attention, all of my elevated content seekers. We believe digital is designed to inspire. Whether it's music, news, entertainment, we believe digital has the content that you don't want to miss. We're bringing you the best in news, entertainment, sports, inspiration, and so much more. Not only are we designed to inspire, but you can advertise with us and reach your target audience now. Got something that you believe in? Well, we believe in you, and we're offering you the opportunity to become a podcaster at We Believe Digital Studios. To become a want to know more? You can contact us at www.webelievedigital.com. Now, while you're at it, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Roku at We Believe Digital.
Welcome. Sorry for the short delay. There's a lot going on today.
That it is.
Yeah. Welcome to Make It Make Sense Jackson. I am your host, Keanu Perry, along with my co-host,
AKA Keanu Perry Jr., AKA Young Man, AKA Mr. Jackson. Nothing changed. You still there with him, along with your co-host Tariq Abdul Tawab. I got to slow it down. You know, they asked me to spell it when they did. I don't know if it's going to hit the news because we did a news interview with WAPT. Clearly on both of our terms. I didn't realize it had to be on one side's terms, but we don't know if you'll see that. But they always ask me to spell my name when I say it, right? They ask me to slow down, so I said I'll slow down for you all. Tariq Abdul Tawab.
Yeah, well, you know, make it what is it, Thursday?
Harvard series. Yep, Thursday. Today's Thursday. Yeah, wow, this week has flown by.
Fifth day of our show, because we got another show tomorrow.
That's right. As long as we're here, right? You just never know what's going to happen. Some weird things have been happening. Let me just put it like that. And I'm being funny, but some real things have been happening lately. You know. But yeah. This is our fourth day. On Thursdays we have two shows. So we're on 90.1 WMPR at 4, and then we transition over to We Believe Digital generally at 5:30. Those of you that are crucial listeners know we thought we were in trouble earlier, so it took us a little time to get over here. But yeah, a lot's going on now, right? Yeah. A lot's going on now. Let me just start by this, especially to those of our listeners that are new, or they just joined us. This right here is where it actually started. You know, a lot of people don't know, young man, but right here in these halls right here, you know, we went to the room. We were dealing with programs helping youth. I happened to be the person that was mentoring and trying to guide us in the right way, right? And the young man and I would sit there along with other youth. Shout out Julian, shout out, Jatavius, shout out Gerard, shout out everybody that was included with this. Shout out Doodleville, shout out all that whole group. It was MRC response team. Shout out Tom. All of us were there, and I'm trying to think of, because I'm thinking of nicknames. So when I think of nicknames, I'm gonna wait till I remember your who am I missing? Squeaky, of course. Shout out Squeaky, part of it. Mika, shout out Mika. We're missing someone else, because I know his nickname, the person, but I'm trying to remember.
Shout out to Scotty.
Scotty Fresh. Shout out to Scotty. These were all young men that gathered together. Most of us right in this building. We were Mississippi Rapid. We went out, we gave water out, we cleaned up Georgetown. You remember those yellow signs called 30 and 30? We tried to clean 30 streets in 30 days where the children played. We went to Ward 3, Ward 5. This is years ago. And these young men looked at me then. And I was fighting to talk to them. Hey, listen to me, we got this, we got that. And they had a choice whether we engage him. And they're all still there. Whether we engage him or whether we say, man, go on with that garbage. So my first embrace came from the young people. My first job in this area was a job developer, trying to get young black men at risk jobs. So why am I talking about that? We approach today's show with us as a community getting to a point where we're fighting back against data centers, right? So I tell you what the cameras are. We're fighting back against data centers, right? The community is being called on to come together. You have a young man from Jackson, a young man that worked in Jackson, well, not as young, worked in Jackson. You don't have any of the things that people have complained about, right? No violence, no anger, nothing. Well, I'm not going to say no anger, but no. We're talking to the people. We're on a path to stop a data center and to say no to the water authority. That these young men gave more than the city council is giving is a crazy thing. So we're now sitting where we went down to our city council yesterday. The whole community shows up, says no to the data center, no violence. It was a great time. Let's just be honest. And what happens at the end of that? We ask the questions of Vernon Hartley comes out to the front and confronts us.
Quick interview.
We do a quick interview. The young man asked him, Mr. Hartley, can we have an interview?
Yeah.
I said, Mr. Hartley, did you ask the police to come out and form this intimidating line behind us? He said, no, I'm on lunch, so I couldn't have done it. The young man said, well, can we get a quick interview? We do an interview.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, and we said yesterday, why is LaShia Brown Thomas tabling the moratorium on data centers? And why is the city council not saying no to the water authority lease? These are the two big elephants. I don't know if they thought we were going to get on the show and get into emotions, but we're on a course here. Now that course is working because it's starting to get stress on us. Now you're seeing everybody come for us and attack us everywhere you go. Right there, look at the way it's formed. My brother, the young man, the young are going to make sure we're always right. Remember that. No data center chance erupt at Pat Jackson meeting, right? So it's a Pat Jackson meeting. If you look into the details of it, the community shows up and says we don't want data centers. In talking to the people, we talk to the people and say data centers is big. We talk about the violence surrounding data centers, fire bombings that have happened in other places, or the people have accused people of doing. And then we go to talk about the violence that surrounds African Americans here in Mississippi when we try to stand up for ourselves, fire bombings and so forth. We then turn around to you, our audience, and specifically say, we'll never advocate violence. Let us tell you how to put pressure politically. You go where the law allows you. This is what we said. And then let's go to the article where they said violence is being implied. I got to let the brother, what's the other article site says, excuse me, y'all.
Are you referring to the article that when we spoke
Today.
to Harley? Oh, one of them.
Yes. Which said,
Letitia, what's her name?
Letitia said that they don't want violence to come based off of the things that we talked about. So it's a different story. So first, we're there, we talk about it. Letitia does not show up, right? Letitia does not show up to talk to the people. LaShia Brown Thomas. I'm trying to multitask, y'all, which I'm not great at. LaShia does not show up to talk to the people, but instead she shows up after the meeting. Now again, in this interview, you watch our page, so most of you all should have seen it. On this, we don't have, there we go. Thank you. So we come out with the most nonviolent journalistic questions. We questioned Robert Ireland. No one else questions him to that depth. WAPT didn't question him to that depth. WLBT didn't question him. Even though Scott Island showed up to this meeting and said, we don't want to talk about it with this many people there. On the 19th, is it Ron Island? Mr. Island showed up and said, I don't want you to put a moratorium on data centers because I have a client we now know is Sexum. I have a client that wants to install a data center. So he fought along with LaShia Brown Thomas and Kevin Parkinson to get this data center in there. Kevin Parkinson, he waved at us weirdly today. We're walking by City Hall after doing an interview with WAPT. I don't think they're going to put that up, so you're going to have to go to our website to see that interview, right? At which time we were cursed out by Ross from WAPT. He did it on the phone. We were on video still. Don't you have not cursed out, but yelled at, if you want to call it that? I told him at the beginning I have a show at 90.1 at this time, and I cannot talk past that point. I made sure to give him all of the facts up front so there'd be no chance of him not having the information. And then I let him know I've got to go to a black radio station, and I've got to talk to these constituents. And I got yelled at. That's not how it works here. You don't stop talking when you're ready to stop talking. Sir, this is a free country. I'm confused at what you got going on. Weird. Another man to tell a man, that's not how this works, that if I have to go, I can't leave. I politely said to the man, I've got to go, I've got to run up. I gave you all the information where I said, and you go look at our page to see it. Make it make sense, Jackson, JXN Facebook. So what I was saying while they try to make you believe, because we've come to a point of all the fish pushing down at the same time, we start to make progress. Can you imagine that data center coming in easy now? No. Can you imagine you not saying no to the Water Authority lease and us letting it go? So LaShia Brown Thomas revives old white supremacist tactics that the White Citizens Council used to use. In the same city they filmed The Help. Now, our question now that the community needs to ask, who sent those police officers to intimidate two black men that were asking questions? The community asked them. So when we get a post that hits 35,000 or 19,000 when we ask a question, the community wants to know that. When you call into our show and ask that, so when we ask Vernon Hartley, this man said to Mr. Hartley, excuse me, Mr. Hartley, can we get a quick interview, sir? Where's the violence? Kevin Parkinson, if we needed to roll the temperature down, why did you make it a point to call us from City Hall while we running live? And say, hey guys, how you doing? And do one of those spirit figure waves. That's okay? I'm like, oh, this is scary. But I'm cool with it, so we're good. But then you go into the paper and say, that rhetoric needs to be toned down. What rhetoric? Asking you why you tabled a moratorium? Are we slaves? Are we niggers? What point are we going to, Mr. Parkinson? What do I need to tone down? We're going to get to you, LaShia, because that was just purely white supremacist tactics you used. But Mr. Parkinson, what do we need to tone down, sir? Would you like a tie that's not as dark? Maybe a shirt that's not as crisp? Am I uppity? I'm not cursing? I'm not using them. I didn't bring people out and say, burn anyone down. I said, ask them the question. Why are you tabling the moratorium? Am I speaking too well, Mr. Parkinson? I'm confused. We got the upfront racism from Ashby Foote when he said the police chief was too overqualified. What are you giving me, Parkinson? Do I think I'm speaking somewhere I shouldn't be speaking, Ross? Why are you all mad at me? I thought you wanted people to present themselves better, Hartley. When you came in the office, when Horn came in, you said, good. We need to show the white folks of Madison and of Mississippi we know how to act. And you cursing at this young man from City Hall steps while I give a professional journalistic interview? Robert Ireland, the man who was on John Horn's housing task team. When Blossom went through, it didn't get them more than a 5-day extension. And now is standing there representing Sexum. Walks out the building after postponing the meeting and runs down the street and not one TV station follows him. Just make it make sense, Jackson. And Ross tells me after yelling at me, you ain't nothing. You ain't a journalist. Where were you when Robert Ireland was there, Ross? He was right there. Why didn't you ask him about the housing task team, Ross? Ma'am, sir, please. Hurt me, yes. We know that you're very capable of hurting me in Mississippi. I get that. I don't try to act like a tough guy I'm not. I said this the whole year, haven't I? I don't want to go to hell. To die. I don't want to go to the upper rope, but that's the only place that I was taught to be quiet in. Blame Najma Abdul-Tawwab, my mother, rest in peace. Blame Mary Grace Rogers, a Stetson professor that taught civil rights from right outside of Louisiana. Blame Jefferson Palmer Rogers from Quincy, Florida, who was raised watching folks get hung. Blame Qasim Abdul-Tawwab, my father that went through the Nation of Islam to under Warfdeen Muhammad that fought through every level of discrimination you can and stood strong. He showed me what a backbone is. Blame them. But I don't know how to be afraid of you saying stop telling the truth. What I do need is you to stand up just as strong as we standing up. And you're doing it. You're calling us and you're saying, keep going. Don't lose focus. Say no to the Water Authority. Oh, you thought that by pulling all this up we would forget what we were here for, didn't you? Say no to the Water Authority, Vernon Hartley, LaShia Brown Thomas. Put that moratorium back on the table. I know you want to cuss at us and we're MFers, Hartley. But that's not what we want. We don't lower ourselves because you come that low. Ross, because you tell us we're not journalists, and you tell this young black man from Jackson he's not a journalist, which is what you're saying. Right? He can't aspire on the same trail you aspire on because he don't come from where you came from, Ross. You done lost your mind, young sir. You have lost your mind. You clearly didn't watch our show before you made them comments. That's why the young man said the new theme song should be If You Don't Know Me By Now.
Exactly.
I know you can send me to the upper room. I know that. My people know that. They called me last night. All the elders called me, checking on me with their wives and their husbands, making sure I'm okay. They know what you do to black people that stand up and speak intelligently, but are coming from the voice of the people. We know what you do to them. I know I'm a triple threat in a bad way. I come from there and I speak like this, but I never went there to get it. I have a GED. We got a problem, Houston. We didn't put him through the regular chains of declassifying his head from what is experience of his people in the Deep South and what they're teaching him the experience is. I never went through that. Sorry. No one you can call to call me off. They did. And if I die not doing what they did, My grandfather had a metal spike put it through his knee playing satellite football as a 15 years old, was an orphan, jumped on a train, and went and begged Mary McLeod Bethune to let him into school because he was over 18 and he wasn't. That's how what do you think I was going to say to him? Hey, granddad, it's tough out here. You lost your mind. That's why when I tell you I know who the greats were here and in other places, I know who they were and what they did. But Vernon Hartley's on the steps of city council screaming at black men, Emma Evers. 8 police officers. Chief Brackney, who sent those police officers to line up and intimidate us? I don't think you did, I'll tell you up front. That's not your background. To try to shut a protest down, quite the contrary. You support protests, peaceful protests. We know LaShia Brown Thomas was a police officer for a long time. Did these officers do this rolling? Because if you're going to penalize that young man for doing donuts, and you did what you had to do, I'm not knocking you. There may be protocol that you got to stick to. I think that he was doing a great thing. I think that he was connecting with the young men. I wish that there was any scenario where that wasn't publicized and he could not have been penalized. I would hope that he wouldn't be. But maybe you had to do that. I'm an ex-manager, director, some things you've got to do. I'm going to say that real. But if those officers roguely lined up behind me and this young black man in Jackson, Mississippi, and all we said was, Vernon Hartley, why did you push for the moratorium to be removed? That's it. Can we interview you, sir? And them 9 police officers roguely decided to line up behind us and intimidate us. Houston, we got a problem. Chief Brackney, it's time to act again. It's time to act again. Well, tell us why they were there. Did you send them, or did they do it roguely? Because we never caused one iota of a scene. We weren't even protesting. We were covering a story for Make It Make Sense Media. You're right, Ross. We don't come from the good life you clearly come from. We don't come from the clean-shaven background you clearly come from. I don't know if you wanted to say, why, no. It sounded like you were about to say something else. Next. I was going toward Dave Chappelle thing when he was yelling at me. I'm going to be honest, this is Ross from WAPT. He's yelling at me on my phone. Who do you think you are? I thought he was about to say, you wide-nosed. He didn't. But that was the energy I was getting. He said, you don't get to tell, you don't get to ask the question. Sir, I don't know if you noticed, but Reconstruction has ended, Ross. I don't know if your ancestors owned, but I'm not a slave. I politely told you I got to go at this time, and I went. So let's keep the focus. You know how you support us? By remembering to tell them to reject the lease and keep the pressure. I said on camera yesterday, the way we pressure them is by everywhere we legally can go and speak to them about their position. We show up there and we say to them. I even told you what to say if you think I talked about violence. You don't. Because I told you the whole thing. I'm a call center manager. I know how to do scripts and run it over with you. So I ran it over with my people live and it's on video. So go where you can legally go and say to LaShia Brown Thomas. Ingenious at best, LaShia Brown Thomas at worst, you are just trying to drum up white supremacist violence against 2 black men. You're not worried about violence because I intentionally told the people, don't you do anything except talk to her. And then I told them what to ask you. There's no way you were scared. Stand up, people. I told a brother 2 minutes ago that was talking to me right before the show, the way you stand up is by you repeating what they're doing. Don't worry about me. You worry about the young man. He won't tell me to brush off, but you don't worry about me. You repeat what they're doing out loud, like I'm repeating it out loud. That's how this movement continues. You protect the children and the youth, and you just repeat and stay the course with us. We know what I'm saying is from the people because you know, you just stay the course. Ross has to move around, man. No, but man, we all bleed the same. I'm not saying any analogies now. Who knows what they're saying next time, a vampire. We all are equal human beings. We can't be afraid of one. I don't care if he wheels a WAPT camera behind him and yells at me for not doing the interview the way he wanted it, but doing it the way the people needed it. I have to protect our history in Mississippi. I have to understand the backdrop of a state where WLBT was the first TV station ever to lose their license by the FCC because of what the FCC deemed racist coverage of civil rights movement. You just talked to somebody today. I talked to our ancestors that lived 30, 40 years ago when it was happening. And I read about them and I look for it. I have to talk to some of them. I see what you did to them in the newspaper, that you hide in the archives. So I'm going to stand up for my people when I do an interview, and I'm going to give you my interview so you can't chop it up and do what you want with it because you've done it to my predecessors too much. Now, my church people, my mosque people, my esteemed college people, what can you do but support me? I don't want anything. I'm losing, as it should be. What are you going to do when there's no stain they can put on me? I'm not ignorant, even though I shouldn't have to be any of these things. I should be able to be all these things if I'm telling the truth. You should accept the truth. I'm speaking in a way we can all understand. I'm not insulting people. I'm not on a racial trail. Everybody seems to agree with me, white, black, Chinese, and no matter how I say it, everyone seems to agree these are facts. I put out a tale of two Jacksons, two cities, one Jackson. Every color said, I like this. This is truth. So where's my elder black community? Now we need those folks that got tricked by the boule. Those folks who believed that when they said Target do 12 and make it make sense, Jackson, there was some crazy person out there, kill all the black people, kill all the white. Then you turned the TV on and you saw an intelligent young man say, Mr. Hartley, why did you vote for a removal of the moratorium that would have protected the people against data centers? And you heard Vernon Hartley say, you MF, get him MF out of here. You're waiting for him to have said, shut up, what's the ass nigga I do? He just sits there shocked. A young man told me I was just shocked, Tark. I watched this man my whole life. Grew up watching him on city council. Never thought he'd be cussing me out for saying, can I get an interview, sir? Y'all got to stand up. I was built. But y'all have to stand up and point out all of these things. Go look through a year of us on air. Never once talked about Mr. Hartley, Mr. Horn, none of these people personally. And I won't. My children are watching me. I've got a different jury that I've got to satisfy. The biggest judge and a jury at home, my wife, my children watching me, my personal community, I've got my you too, but I've got to make sure they can be proud of me. The worst thing isn't losing a father. The worst thing is having a coward as a father. Some of you children in Jackson and throughout Mississippi are experiencing that right now. Your daddies but mommies won't stand up. You ain't got to do what they do, children. I'm going to talk to you young people. You don't have to do what your mommy or daddy did. You can stand up. You could stand up like this young man standing up. You don't have to stay quiet, and you don't have to know the answers to everything. Just know, like Sister Pat, when she sings for the Poor People's Campaign, that song, Someone's Hurting My People, and it's been going on far too long. You don't have to know the answer to know something's wrong, young people. 1963, Mississippi, the young people walked out of the schools in the Mississippi and right into the civil rights movement. The brother called our show to remind us of that. Children became adult that way, not by having to shoot at somebody, not by getting initiated, but by doing what most of what you call gangs were formed to do. Fight for the freedom and protection of our people. But you don't want to have that talk. And I'm never going to let you use this platform for anything else. You'll never say a vice lord started out as a vice lord and a GD, a gangster disciple, started out as a gangster disciple. You will respect that every entity came from white supremacist oppression and trying to do something else. You flood drugs into the neighborhood. You changed everything that changed, Mr. White Supremacist and Mrs. White Supremacist. You flooded those great intentions with drugs and violence. That was your violence. And to my white comrades that been with us from the beginning speaking against violence, stay there. We love you. To you newcomers, don't for 1 second think that you can come into these comments and say stuff like, well, I don't agree with what they're saying about those other things, but I'm with them on data centers. Them other things are black humanity. Get the hell on. That's what I'm telling you. This ain't your platform. Get the hell on. If you think for a moment we're going to get together with you to get your community right, for you to turn around and don't say nothing as they dump on black communities, take yourself somewhere else. This ain't the collaboration you want. Shout out to the comrades that have been there since day one, is going to be there day 30, of every color. But if you think you about to jump on here and say, well, I don't agree with him, the way these black people in Jackson talk about what's been done to them, and then fairness and that chokeway and free the land and all this other stuff, we don't want to hear about none of that. But if you want to talk about that, man, you had me at the first sentence. Go on. I don't want you. Same thing I told Ross at WAPT. Go on. The people are watching this live. Have a good day. Ta-ta. Toodles. That's how we have to be. All we got is us. We know what it is, but I'm not going to play that joke of the past, giving up the cash to the leaders, knowing damn well they're not going to feed us. I know it's just as bad as me whether I tell Ross to go on or whether I don't, because I'm speaking truth. You're going to do the same thing to me either way. So I die with my pants down. You won't make me pay for standing up for my people. Make me pay with my pants up and my tie on, right? You've seen too many Negroes in Mississippi selling you out with ties on. I'm going to show you what a Negro look like standing up with a tie on. It look different, don't it? How the young people say it hit different, don't it? Ross thought that tie meant I can talk to you anyway. Go talk to your daddy that way. That's what I say. Or call Qasim Abdul-Tawwab. I'm going to yell my daddy's name out there. Same way I asked who raised John Horn, as he has orchestrated everything we're facing. Let's get back to it. Reject the water authority that John Horn told us is good. $200 million in debt will be taken up, and we'll control it with our seats. We ain't got nothing. It's the same John Horn who sat with 20 mayoral elected people running for mayor and said, I'll return it to Jackson. It's our water. As soon as that man got in the mayor's office, August of 2025, he put Jackson's water out there like a whore on a cheap strip. Who wants to go 50-50? The article, Mayor Horn touts private-public partnership for water. That's why they can't do nothing to me, because I show you the articles where they do it. This ain't Tark's opinion. This ain't KP's opinion. You did it. And when the powers that be told you, Mayor Horn, we don't want half of the water system, you silly Negro. We want it all. This is the water authority you would give it over to. He stayed the course and convinced us, just like he did in 1996 when Kane Diddle called him and said, we need this business improvement district in. We can't get nobody to go with it, especially not a black person, especially not a black Democrat. And the feds don't want us to have a business improvement district because after we gave them voting rights in 65, our voting rate was at 7% 10 years later. John said, I'll do it. I'll do it. So in 1996, John Horn co-authored the Business Improvement District legislation that Downtown Jackson Partners has used since then to keep an iron grasp on the business dealings of Jackson, Mississippi. I told you that. And you see the anger coming. Robert Island walks out, and who walks up to him? Journalism, Ross? Journalism as a black man with black children? We both are there. You got children, don't you? And a wife, you got to look in the eyes? And you say journalism, and y'all let Robert Island turn the corner? And you never asked him if his time on Mayor Horn's housing task force was when he started this plan to bring in sexism? Journalism, but you never asked him, did he have any prior conversations with Mayor Horn, LaShia Brown Thomas, or Kevin Parkinson before deciding to represent Nixon? And did he make that decision while he was on the housing task? Journalism? Man, please. Man, please. Go on 70th to the upper room, call your boys to come put cuffs and make my life hell like you usually do in the South. You can miss me with the rest of that garbage. Ross, you doing that. It's always one of our own. And you're on tape yelling at me, so please don't try to turn around and say you didn't do it. And I told you clearly before that I only had this amount of time.
What y'all think gonna happen? Y'all think I'm just gonna shut up too? Y'all think?
I knew it was coming. You know, look, y'all put me in a sad position because the young man is my children's age, legitimately, right? I have a 22-year-old, he's 28, I'm sorry, sir. Right? So you put me, of course I don't want him to be involved with certain things. That's a 50-year-old job, right? I can take it. You deal with this as your life's legacy? I can now. It got me much more in the show. Now,
It's all in here now.
Yeah. But the youth is who we're trying to inspire, and that's it. And you as the people have a job to do. I'm doing my job, and I'm not saying I'm doing it great, because you all tell me different ways to do it better, and I'm yours. It's a people's platform. I'm yours if you're true about helping us. But y'all have to stand up, not for me, just for truth. If I say I have a white top in my hand, I have a bottle of water in my hand, and my tie is wonderful, maybe we disagree on how nice my tie looks. But for the love of God, please repeat that I have a bottle of top in my hand and I have a bottle of water. That's all I need from you. So when Ross from WMPR interviews me, and I give him a straight interview so he can't twist those words up, and you're a Mississippian who knows how they twist words up, don't let him get away with it. You're the people. You're the people. When LaShia Brown Thomas implies violence, and a man who's worked with strong arms, my first job that I'm proud of outside of Verizon was Strong Arms of Mississippi, Benny Ivan, Benny, Tehran, John. This is my job, taking at-risk youth, as you want to call them, and using my Verizon experience to build them up to work for Comcast. I got young men that have done 7+ years in jail, acceptance from companies like Comcast, whether they chose the job or not. I taught them how to do action deliver. So what they're going to ask you is, give me a situation where this is happening. What did you do? Now I know what you're talking about. Okay, well, just present you outside, and somebody walks up and steps on your shoe. They stepped on my shoe. I don't like that. Well, what was the action? They stepped on my shoe. What did you do, man? I let it go. Okay, and what was the result? I ain't get locked up. That's all they're going to do to you in a job interview, young brother, young sister. They're just going to ask you, so you had this ready for you go in. Shout out Larry. You know who I'm talking to. There's a lot of Larrys, man. Killed that interview. Killed the interview. Over 7 years in prison. Turned as a gang member. I proved, like we all prove, you give an inch of opportunity to our folks. They'll shine like you've never seen before. And here comes LaShia Brown Thomas. Well, they're inciting violence because they discussed what happened. She knew it wasn't violence. Go back and watch it. We're going to take a small commercial break, and then we're going to talk about it. And we're going to go a little deeper into why you need to stand up. Because we need you, Jackson. We'll be right back at you. Yeah.
once you don't go outside, go ahead.
So as soon as you give us that, we'll wrap it up. We know if you pull up. Man, appreciate it.
Hey, welcome to the We Believe Digital Network. We make your dreams come true. We have a podcast station and a radio station that I'm about to show you on this side. Okay, so now that you're inside, let me take you into the room where we make all the magic happen. Right here in the We Believe Digital podcast and radio station studio itself. All right, y'all ready? Let's go.
We never got to do this. So when we say congratulations on this, go back into the people came together and decide. And then let's talk about, let's keep it on the facts. Let's talk about what he did try to explain why.
Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes room of the We Believe Digital podcast, where all the podcasts and engineering happen. I am JB. How you doing? Hope all is well. Currently right now, the We Believe Digital Network, we have a deal going on for $99 an hour studio.
Y'all want this? Now with these new people,
And reach out to your team, and we'll build your dream. Have a good one. Oh, come on in. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes of the We Believe Digital radio station, where everything We Believe Digital radio takes place. I am currently mixing and mastering a playlist for the radio station. Speaking of that, if you have any suggestions or even your own songs or podcasts or talk shows that you might want to be featured right here on the radio station, you can email us at WeBelievePlatforms@gmail.com.
What's a good article? Tell him and y'all can do it right there. Remember we talked about articles we could hold the newspaper and whatnot? Remember we were talking about articles initially that we were going to print out so we can hold it up to the news to talk about how bad data centers are? How about we put an article like that on the backdrop so they remember this is about this is about the danger of these data centers that we can keep them on. Yeah, it's just the most egregious one, and that we don't even want it from here. The most egregious one, so they can remember what this is about. Yeah, no, like the noise, the cancer, like all the complaints about it. Like they gotta remember, like they're never trying to reshift this conversation to one of they're trying to put it on you. That's right. We gotta put it back on what's about to happen to you. Yeah, you, me. You're trying to get all the attention on me and say, well, if enough people dislike it, what makes you think people want to dislike it? Because I'm saying don't do this. We've done enough. So I'm gonna make more coffee to stand up.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
People don't play with Mr. Jackson. All right, I said the people don't play with Mr. Jackson. Welcome back. Jackson, Mississippi, and these United States to the second half of our show, Make It Make Sense, Jackson. We're here on the new and making trends. When I say they've got so many shows on this lineup here, you'll want to check out the network, not just our show. We Believe Digital. Check them out because they've got a lot. But we're back from the second half of our show. Just picking up where we left off at. We did pass on our call for transparency and for an effort and fight to you all. And say that at this time, this is the community's time. As we point out this data center that's hovering on Forest Avenue, as we point out the Gabriel Prado fighting to get his own AI data center, and he already has such a strong grip on this city with the Don Gabriel gate stations and the Gabriel Prado lofts that are coming, that are going to push a lot of us that just can't afford that out, right? Realistically, we've got to have our eyes wide open. And we've got to understand what happened yesterday was that Robert Island, who represents Sexum, who's trying to bring the data center to Forest Ave, saw all those people, is all we can assume, because they were in a rush to get this done, and decided to postpone that zoning meeting. What does that mean, Jackson? Because what Lashia Thomas is trying to do is pretend, and this is where y'all are going to have to stand up and put this out with water. I'm talking about your comment. I don't ask for much. I never asked for money. We never asked for you to do that. We're asking, this is targeted young man. Jump in them comments. Speak every time it comes up. Why would she say we called for violence when we clearly didn't? I clearly said you will never put on me calling for violence because I don't want it. I want to get in their face everywhere we legally can and say, Lashia, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you table the moratorium? I said get in Hartley Parkinson's face and ask them. I said don't use violence. And Lashia Brown Thomas, not only it seems, and now this is just me guessing, I don't know that she did this, but 9 to 10 police officers intimidated us, while this young man simply said, Mr. Hurley, can I have an interview, please? So there was no thoughts of us doing anything. The majority of that crowd had left. So who sent those police? We know LaShia Brown Thomas is a 20-plus year police officer. Who sent those officers there to intimidate us? Chief Brackney, waiting on her to get back to us, and a lot of our sisters that are leading these organizations in the community have already started setting up meetings with her to find out. Man, you're going against a community here, not a person. You don't know who I got this from, which is why you're doing this to me, LaShia Brown Thomas. But you shouldn't, because you're attacking the messenger. And the people on the end of my message don't like what you're doing at all. Okay, if they're judges, then I get the calls at home. Are you okay, young man? This is ridiculous. I'm not worried. This ain't no, my eyes have seen it coming up. No. You should be worried for pretending we're about violence when we're trying to push our people to use their vote and their power the right way. And Brian Grizzell had to have seen this. What's going on at the city council? So Brian introduces a moratorium that was supposed to protect the citizens of Jackson. Now people aren't quite sure that's why he introduced it. People are wondering whether he introduced it because his brother Vincent Grizzell was pushed out, as they said it, of the police department. Maybe this was a personal beef you had, Brian, because all we did, you had to watch that video before you put out that city council statement. No one said anything to make you worried about violence against you all. We gave specific instructions to talk to them and say this, LaShia Brown. In a separate part of the conversation, we say, look at all the violence surrounding data centers if you want to understand what this means. We got people getting firebombed. You've got folks that are getting voted out of office. And you got the violence that's happened to us in America. And then what are my next words? Never use violence. That's what happens to us. Instead, talk to her. Brian Grizzell and LaShia Brown Thomas must have decided to skip that part of the video that the rest of you saw. They must have decided not to watch it. And so this woman realizes I've got two black men. One has a little afro. He looks like he can move with little things. In my mind, I was a police officer. He fits the description. The other one next to him, it doesn't matter. He's sitting up there. His voice is a little louder. Police says that if they get loud, okay, let me pitch them as violent. Are you serious, LaShia Brown Thomas? Bringing data centers to a community that doesn't want it is one of the most violent acts of 2026. I'm going to repeat that. LaShia Brown Thomas, did you think by saying that we will stop talking about this? LaShia Brown Thomas introduced tabling the ordinance, a moratorium to protect Jackson and the rest of the surrounding areas, because y'all going to get part of it too, until we could decide whether we wanted a data center or not. Just a moratorium. She voted to table it. Kevin Parkinson backed her up. And then LaShia and Kevin both implied that we were violent. You got to stand up now. Yeah. This is when movements are made right here. Not on the front end. We did our part. We stood up and said the truth. You got to have something to say to that, man. We're violent? Go look at the interview. Go look at the interview and talk. Open your mouth and scream it from the top. Those young men weren't violent. He mentioned the firebombs and explicitly said, do not do violence. Instead, do this pressure. He said there's no way they should be able to move around Jackson without this type of pressure. And then repeated it to make sure his people understood what they wanted. You're not in danger of anything, LaShia Brown Thomas, except losing office. Expeditiously. You know it. You know we're not calling for anything except you to lose office. I say I love you all, but I'm calling for violence against you. Maybe you didn't watch the show. What do we say over and over again, we love you and we don't want no harm to happen to you. I actually, LaShia Brown Thomas, and I'm going to go look myself, but I remember, I specifically said one show, I don't want any harm to come to you. I just want you to do the right thing, sister.
Y'all called police officers on us. I mean, none of them tried to arrest us. I mean, the one person that got grabbed away was the violent person. Who was that? Harley.
Harley was the only one getting violent. And now, Chief Brackney, you suspended the young man for doing donuts to try to connect with those young men that don't have one outlet. You suspended him. He had to lose money. A GoFundMe gave him back some of that money. Jackson, we're not living well enough to miss paychecks, right? So you suspended him and we assumed it was protocol, right? Even if you didn't want to, he was on camera driving out of the designated, I've had to do that before. But hold on a second. 9 of your officers lined up behind 2 totally peaceful black men in Jackson, Mississippi. One, a younger one, simply saying, can I get an interview, sir? It's Make It Make Sense Media. And 9 police pull up like it's 1919 and we trying to vote. Lights on. Together. There was no one out there but us. Natalie Speaks was out there talking to her people. Danielle Holmes was out there talking to their people. It was just people talking and covering the story. and you decide to send black cops to line up, locking arms like we saying we should overcome, and this young man's trying to get an interview. And then Vernon Hartley gets dragged out calling him an MFer. Make it make sense, Jackson. That's your councilman. Ward 5, stand up. This ain't how you let your children get talked to. What's that church over there, the really nice church they tried to kick us out of? When we tried to bring some truth forward, I forget the name of it, if you remember it.
It's over there by the store, Jason. What's the Jason store? Not Jason.
Adjacent to the store off of, but anyways, they were holding a political event at this church. I know it's right near 90.1 when we're driving away from it.
No, that is or something like that.
I hope that's the right one. But there was a political event there where Hartley was speaking with other members of the city council. And everyone knows if you're having a political event, you can't choose who you let in. You can't let in your congregation and not Reverend Star Wars congregation. You got to let everybody in, right? So he was talking about a vote to redistrict and how Banks at that time had led them into muddy waters, is what he said. He wasn't telling us then that he voted for what Banks had asked for. He was phrasing it like the rest of them had done wrong. And a young man, Scotty, shout out Scotty Fresh, raised his hand and tried to ask a question. And because he didn't speak the language well enough to get it out the way Hartley wanted to hear the question, Hartley laughed at him and shut him down. And it was at that moment that I decided, well, let me ask you a question, Hartley. Did you vote for what you're saying the other people voted for? Well, I don't remember. This is what he said. I said, hold on, you're talking about a vote as serious as redistricting and you don't remember? That's what you want these people to think? This was me years ago. He said, hold on. Okay, I voted for it, but that's all you got to be kidding me. You done robbed these people up, telling them that Banks did this and how he's so wrong and you voted for it too? And Banks, young enough to be your nephew, got you to do it? But what did he say when they missed that 30 days for the water increase?
I didn't know.
John didn't tell me. Get that motherfucker out of here. That's how they're talking to us when we try to tell you what's happening. So this is a time for standing up. Stay the course. Tell the city council no. Make them get more emails. They can send them all to Foot. And this is because the community said every email they send to a council person goes to Ashby Foot.
Well, y'all like to talk about violence. You know, I'm from Jackson. I know a lot of history in Jackson. There was a man by the name of Charles Tisdale, right? You know, back then he had a news station. He would report a lot of things going on in the city. And so since he was so well at reporting stuff and doing stuff that we doing, you want to know what happened to him?
Firebomb.
The city council firebombed him. So, you know what I'm saying? We gonna reverse it on y'all. Maybe we the ones being attacked. Maybe the ones y'all being violent to us. Maybe we should watch y'all back. You see what I'm saying?
That's how it feels to us.
Maybe we gonna get firebombed.
That's how it feels to us. And knowing that's what I was talking about during that interview. Knowing I was talking about the violence surrounding data centers and the violence black people have faced when they tried to stand up. Grizel, Lashia, they knew where I was going with that. That's white supremacy and blackface. When you take a black man that's about to talk about I'm worried about violence happening to me and my family. And you twist that into me being violent?
Why?
My God.
Not over here.
My God.
Not happening, Captain. We the ones being threatened. We getting phone calls. Oh, y'all good? Y'all check on them. Make sure they straight.
And we here for it. We built for it. I gave you my grandparents' name. I gave you my family's name for a reason.
Well, no police.
Young man gives you his family name for a reason.
Hey, look up my family.
We're built for this now, but we're not built to do it alone. We never were. Only reason we got to this point where anyone's talking about make it make sense is because of us, you all. We're not a clown because we've got a full audience that knows that their lives depend on whether we can together make a little bit of progress. So to this man's point, Charles Tisdale got firebombed by people that folks said was from the council.
City council. Look
The
on
city council.
In the docs. Look it up.
Now that takes on a new measure when Vernon Hartley calls us MFers. And then Lashia says they're violent. This takes on a whole new meaning. What's happening, Jackson? I don't know what they thought was going to happen. We've called out everything we've seen. They're taking us into muddy waters and they're daring you to accompany us. They're daring you to stand up. You've talked all these years about you'll stand up. Now you stand up. We only wanted you to stand up for the vote. Super important. But we only wanted you to focus on the vote. Don't focus on young men and people trying to stand up and tell truth. We want you conditioned to only respond to the V word. And the vote is an important in our arsenal. But you want us to forget about that bazooka called public truth that we as black folks and as folks, humanitarians have always used. You wanted us to shut up about the truth about what our leaders are doing and just stick with that little pistol called vote that we've shot for 30, 40 years without someone hindering us from shooting. I know we've had voting rights longer, but I'm talking about unhindered. Some people, elderly people, tell you in the South, it hasn't been that long that we've been able to freely use our right to vote.
Freely.
So you're trying to tell us to put all our other weapons away. And now, the same city council, Jackson, Mississippi, that was accused of firebombing a black man, Charles Tisdale, who ironically sued Kane Ditto and the Downtown Jackson Partners for stealing money from the city. These cones have gone full circle to where they think they can say the quiet part out loud and you'll never notice.
Say it one more time.
It was one article that showed the firebombing. I love that. Keep that. But you had another article where it was showing LaShia Brown Thomas, the council person, saying we don't need violence in discourse, knowing we said nothing violent. If we can get back there together. If we can't, you'll understand the point. If you watch that, any of you all, assume LaShia Brown is as intelligent as you are. Vernon Hartley, Brian Grizel, he's as intelligent as you are. Now this looks like a pissing match over your brother in that job. You weren't standing up for your people in the first place. Because you called us and told the public sees who did it. So we stand up with the public and you there violent. Wait, what? Type of games you playing here? How's it going down? If it's gone until it's gone. Brian, I'm talking to you. I hate to have to rap to you like that. I know that's DMX talking to the females, but I'm rapping to you, Brian. What type of games are going on? How's it going down? You told us to stand up against it. We stood up. You told us to sit down. What's going on, Brian? I don't do weird stuff without talking about it. You told us this is the problem. The public sees who did it. Next thing, you coming out with a council statement about violence, even though you could see my interview. You knew I said nothing violent. What's going on, Brian? Talk to me now. I'm going to give you some chance. You talk to us. We're back on again tomorrow. Talk to me, man. You told us this is the problem. Get him. You told me get him, so I got him. Next thing I know, you talking about him, we being violent.
We are hated by y'all for doing the right thing.
Wow. What you asked us to do, Brian. Now we're going to say it like if we fall, we're going to fall with our pants up, tied around our waist. Send me to the upper room fully clothed, please, sir. Brian, you told us this is the problem. Speak up, community. We spoke up. You said them Negroes are violent for speaking up. Make it make sense.
Now, during this time, you know, this is kind of mediocre.
Contact your council member today. I'm sorry, they've been telling us we were supposed to be saying that. It comes at the bottom. Look down at the bottom of that screen while KP's talking.
No, I was gonna say that.
Oh, my bad.
Go ahead.
No, you go. That's your please.
Yo, during this time, contact y'all city council. Make sure y'all do checkups on them, and make sure that they reject that lease and put that moratorium back on the desk.
Gotta inspect what you're expecting. We do it with our children. We do it when we go into and order our food. We do it when someone comes in and works on our house. Let me watch this person and make sure they're doing what I asked them to do. We definitely do it at the hair salon and at the barbershop. I don't have any more hair to go there anymore, but when my son is there, I see him looking when he comes out like, man, and you do him wrong, you got a non-friend for life. But we've got to inspect what we're expecting from our city council. And when you're looking at these two different parallels right above me, screenshot this and protect these youth. Protect me too, but I know it is what it is, right? It is what it is. But the young people standing up got to be protected. On one side, you see Charles Tisdale's getting firebombed and people in the city council at that time being suspects because he was standing up to talk to us about justice and what freedom looks like. On the other side, you see LaShia Brown Thomas calling two black men violent for begging their people to use the legal voting rights given to them to stand up. Intentionally saying don't be violent. Instead, use words because they're so much more powerful. And LaShia Brown Thomas says, we get attacked in 2026 like Charles Tisdale got attacked in the 90s. Only difference is it's a black council person doing it, not Louis Armstrong.
Oh, that was a black.
God, they did it. They got us both times. My God. The more it changes, the more it stays the same. You're going to have to speak to LaShia. AKA, shout out. All beautiful. Deltas, shout out. We're in different waters now. As my son-in-law, I watched him with pride win the Hinds County mock trial, coming second. I apologize, sister, because that was a mean sister that came in first. I can't wait to see her in action. And I pray to God these people that win these things get to keep practicing. But as I watch my son do that, then lose opportunity after opportunity because folks don't like what I say. As I watch him fight through the obstacles, as I watch the young man fight through obstacles, as I watch my other children and the children in our community fight through obstacles, I wonder, when are the adults going to show up in those same numbers? It's about 2,000 of us showing up now. Kudos to us. But when do these numbers start growing? What label do you put on this call? Am I too I don't speak well enough? Do I make too many things up? Do I talk about people, personal lives, and bring in things that shouldn't be brought in? Do I racistly talk about other people? Do I hate somebody because of anything about them? If I haven't espoused any of those views, neither has the young man. And all I do is stick to details and facts. I need all 100,000 residents of Jackson to stand up with me. I need Mount Olive in there. I need Hattiesburg in there. Because every time I look at the video in Mount Olive, and I see a group of white council people with 3 or 4 black sisters in there, and a white mayor saying, well, just because you heard me say I was going to help you get this water up, doesn't mean I said it. And not one politician, church leader, or anyone speaking up to help her. Then we speak for everyone at a certain point. And we need everybody to stand up. Because they're trying to shift this focus, not because Tariq's so great, even though I think he is, not because the young man's so great, but because the young man and Tariq got the people all talking together about things they all know about. Now you hear me talking about things like Bacon's Rebellion. Study your history. Understand that the term white wasn't even a word. Now, where I'm from, Germany. I'm from Ireland. Oh, I'm from, and even in Ireland, I was from a certain place. Even in Germany, I was from a certain place. I tell you about my home. My grandmother used to tell me about how she would meet people and would tell them not about Switzerland, about Nigeria, but about the clan where they came from in that place. And then Bacon's Rebellion, of many other things, saw indentured servants that weren't being paid properly, that you would call white today, and enslaved Africans come together and put up some type of fight. You all white. They're black. You can't marry each other. Those tobacco farmers shuddered at the thought of if these poor people start looking around and realize, you know what those indentured servants recognized? You know what General Nathaniel Bacon recognized in that moment? It costs me more to be a poor, racist white person than it does to just stand up for truth. I have to pretend that nobody deserves health care or anything, including my people, to be racist and white. It's expensive. It's expensive. It's much cheaper, as Vernon Hartley and LaShia Brown Thomas are showing you, much cheaper to use racist practices and be black. Clarence Thomas showed us that. And Judge Wingate is working hard at showing us that. Much easier to cater to the far right and be a black man. Look at what's happening to Tariq. Look how they're getting him. He's sweating in dress shirts and everything. Bitches ain't like Verizon, is it? Bet you wish you had shut your mouth and stayed where you was for all that money before, don't you? No, sir, because my daddy ain't your daddy. Who raised you, John Horn? Charlie Horn, we're talking to you, sir. We both are unionized men. Who raised him?
Yo.
He ain't shooting at one person. He out here giving it all away. Now data centers are coming, and his buddy Gabriel, you worried about Sexum and Robert Island. That's John Horn's buddy from his housing tax. Y'all not noticing all these people come from John Horn's teams? At what point do you just continue to look at the emperor and say, he does have clothes on, Tariq. You can't see it. He's got on a transparent wife beater. No, at what point do you say, yeah, you're right, he's naked. His genital just hit me in the face. I got to admit it. I'm a grown man, a grown woman, genital just hit me in the face. Robert Ireland came on John Horn's transition team. I'm sorry, housing task team. Gabriel Prado came on John Horn's transition team, entrepreneurial transition team. Surinder Singh, who said black people's lives are worth 6 packs of beer, you said it, sir. He came on John Horn's entrepreneurial transition team. The son of the woman, you're supposed to be a Democrat. This is a plantation Democrat. You bring on the family that helped overturn abortion. Which feel how you may about it, but it's certainly not a Democratic principle to hire people that helped overturn abortion. The Trust Market family. William Herring, whose mother, Terry Herring, led the charge against abortion. You all know Terry Herring. Look who if it was just William Herring, maybe you could say, well, he's not his mother. Their whole family are strong Republicans, Trump pushers, but when you put everybody together, Robert Ireland was on there with Jennifer Welch. You brought on these strong lawyers like Robert Ireland, and what did the people of Blossom Apartment get? That's why they brought Robert Ireland on initially. John Horn brought him on to be part of his housing task team.
5 days.
All of it, but you can bring Sexum in to get a data center in on him and not tell us who it is. But you couldn't help the people of Blossom Apartments get more than 5 days. Make it make sense, Jackson. And John Horn's the only one that should be asked this. Not really Ireland. He had the interview. He quite honestly, He answered all the way up to the point I asked one question. And that was, did you have any previous conversations with Mayor Horn, with Councilwoman LaShia Brown Thomas, or with Councilman Kevin Parkinson prior to deciding to bring that business to Forest Avenue? This conversation is no longer productive. But he answered everything else. Kudos to transparency there. Doesn't look like he's the one that's the problem. Like, I'm a lawyer, I got called, I came. He's on John Horn's housing task team. John Horn signed the Business Improvement District in '96 with Kane Diddle being able to push CCI, which became Downtown Jackson Partner. John Horn bought in Surinder Singh. John Horn boasted about Babanasi buying up all of downtown. John Horn said these are his friends and reposted Babanasi buying up everything. What are you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, you know, before, you know, this data center thing, it was also a power plant on Lake Hyco that used to put fumes in the air, and they call it the wastewater treatment unit. It's you know, the energy in it caused a lot of stuff to happen. They would dump, like, I think it was like hot water into the ocean, and not hot water, but like hot coolant into the water, and it would mess the water up. So the water still messed up from that. They did that for like 7 years. They just, I think like 2019, they just got rid of the plant because it was that area was going to be used for JPS. So the water is still contaminated, and that wasn't that long ago. 7 years. Well, that is not that long ago.
It's
not that long ago.
Mayor Horn is over 70, I believe. Kane Diddle's over 70, I believe. Who raised you? People that knew what happened there and were trying to continue a plan? That's very strong. Well, I mean, that is, so you're bringing it back to something that was there before. And listen, a lot of this is just ridiculous. I mean, you had NDQ requiring sediment and soil testing, mandatory draining. It was classified as an active industrial. We've been here before, Jackson. We already know what you all were doing. And now when we simply say, can we put a moratorium to figure out whether what happened before is going to happen again? They're playing games with you. So now it's throw your hand high. So that means everyone except Tina Clay is not invited. So except Tina Clay, everyone else is invited is what you're telling me. We meeting and we talking about how do we get this through so they don't stop. Okay, here we go, Brian. You introduce a moratorium. Okay, LaShia, excuse me. You take it off the table. But Tina gonna say something, well, it's just her. We ain't invite her. Stokes he's not gonna show up, we know that. I'm giving you a reenactment of what I think it went like. Okay, so then when she does that, Brian, you say something like, the public will know. They went and watched Power. The public will know. Should have been a red flag to us when he didn't do anything else about it. He didn't fight at all. He didn't go out himself in canvas. He didn't get out to tell his people what was happening. That should have been a red flag to us. He just said the public will know, and then he went and had call, and everything else was fine. But then it goes public. And then LaShia Brown Thomas and Brian Gazelle here, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab in front of the Hood building, explaining to the people that this data thing is so important. Look at the violence surrounding it in other centers. You think that violence eventually is not going to come to African Americans in Mississippi standing up for their rights? You take that moment to call two black men violent, LaShia, as you do the most violent step, and every American believes that now, the ones that aren't making money off of a data center. They believe one of the most violent acts right now is to bring a data center into a community against the will of the people. And Brian, thank you for whatever whether it was ill-intentioned or not. I'm glad you introduced that moratorium because now it's hot. We make it hot. Brothers wanting to stand next to you. Everyone knows about this. So if this was a plan, it was a pretty bad one. You all should have just had a special session and snuck it through.
Ward 3, y'all know y'all need to talk to. Y'all councilman wouldn't even know. Well, yeah.
He wasn't there again. No, it was a meeting. It had to be, but he still wasn't there.
So basically,
well, we didn't get inside. We didn't see him.
Oh, he wasn't there.
Nah, we know he wasn't. The people.
I looked inside the building when I went up there. I looked inside.
That's right, you did. You did. Well, I was saying nonviolent acts, like telling people to use practical discourse, not even civil disobedience. My words didn't. Tougaloo Political Department, Jackson State Political Department, Alcorn Political Department, and Valley State Political Department. Howdy. Well, the son had just graduated. We're going to be here every time. This is where movements break. When the breeding grounds that used to protect black power, real black power here in Mississippi, when those voices go quiet, you're in trouble. We in trouble. I'm scared of things. Those things I'm scared of are not holding my daughter at 10. Not of the pain that my ancestors felt for standing up. Fannie Lou got beat with an iron. So I know something in line is there when you start standing strong. But you, the people, you call out those little things like LaShia Brown Thomas calling us violent. You got to get him. That's you. Get him. Because the only reason she calling us violent is because we said, why did you table that moratorium? So you either want a data center, leave her alone. Or you don't want. Then you tell her, why did she call 2 black men violent who said nothing violent? Go watch our page and look at it. In fact, they said, do not use violence. We'll never advocate for that. Brian Grizel, why did you tell those young black men to stand up? And when they did, you wrote a whole thing saying we're worried about violence when it's clear, no matter who told you a story, there was no violence. Anytime, and we're going to close this, but anytime somebody calls you and says, hey, come here, this other person said you was being mean to them at the radio station or something, anything like that, and you know it's garbage, that can't be on us anymore. Our capacity can only be so much. This is a community effort. You check that garbage and make them afraid to label that on us. But all we're trying to do is do that. When the Rex Brown power plant first opened in 1948, the mayor of Jackson was Leland L. Speed. What you think about to happen? So it was the Rex Brown power plant opened in 1948, and the mayor of Jackson was Leland Speed. The same Leland Speed who Otha Kane interviewed, along with Sister Hurricane, who was attacking Leland for not doing right by us in Jackson, talking about rumors of him stealing land from people. Otha sat right in between them two. Now, why is a young man 27 years old the one bringing y'all this stuff? Otha? We love our whole community. That's why, Lashia, you crazy for what you did. Because we sat on this platform and said we want nothing to happen to you, sister. Otha, we sat right here and said we want you to speak up and be a leader. Take that gummy bear out your back. One day you support the mayor, old mayor Lumumba. Next day it's the mayor Lumumba's fault. The third day you don't like none of them. You sat between Leland Speed and Sister Hurricane, a.k.a. Sister Stephanie Parker Weaver, and watched that interaction. And you didn't even have the decency, and we'll close this, to reach out to the Daiquiri Bar owner and tell that brother why he didn't get renewed and why they didn't give him a chance to buy this. Man, Kane did have been involved with Downtown Jackson Partners, man. They set this up from the beginning, young blood.
Yeah.
Man, our young people just get turned away and dumped on. No one told him, man. He think Kane did it with his post. Man's oblivious. He's younger. I want to thank Dane Diddle for giving me the time he did give me. Kane Diddle was the one who was over CCI, which became Downtown Jackson Partners. He got them their most money, and Charles Dinsdale sued him for stealing money for Downtown Jackson Partners. And that's who this young oblivious man, that's when they know they can get us, when our young people don't know. So you all stand up. We're going to close this out, but we'll be right back tomorrow. You all stand up. We'll be back on at 6 o'clock. You all go to that article and repost. No more of this sideline stuff. You call us and tell us big up. I like that, but we need you to get in the game too, man. Repost Lashia Brown Thomas and ask the question, how is this violent when we heard them ask for no violence? Man, there should be 1,000 of those reposts go out today. Brian Grizel, should be 1,000 reposts. Brian, you told them to stand up. You told them, the community, why would you do this to them? And we'll keep the course just like we've always done. Because let me tell you something. You ain't heavy. You my brother. So if you ask yourself where Tarkus Abdul Tawwab is at, he's good long as you with me. Where the young man is at, he is good long as the community circles him. We not shaking. We not fading. We not going to break. Just keep up, keep it up.
Yeah.
We going to keep rocking, Jackson. We'll see you same place tomorrow till the wheels fall off. Continue to make it make sense. We love you. We out.
We out.
Another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's time.
Wow,
Our protocol is different now, huh? Yeah.